Hey everybody, Brian here. So there's a feature, I should have done this ages ago, right? Scheduled charging on a PHEV or electric vehicle. So if you have a PHEV, so that'd be something like, we'll say, a Tucson plug-in hybrid or a Santa Fe plug-in hybrid, or if you have a full electric Kona or full electric Ioniq or something like that, there's two screens you're going to be faced with. One of them is the 8-inch screen, which looks like this. So in that case, if you had an EV, you'd go into EV because it'd be there. In this case, we're sitting in a PHEV, so I'm going to touch PHEV, and that's going to bring us into a charge management menu. So into charge management, and then it's going to give you a couple of options here, which is next departure and scheduled charging. Sometimes you can go into this and it might be sitting here, so make sure your charging settings is what you're going into, and then you're looking for these ones here. I'm going to move on to the next screen. So just to clarify, if we are in an electric car like this one here, which I seem to be unable to open for some reason. So same idea, we're going into the bigger screen here, but again, the principles of everything I'm talking about, whether you've got an 8-inch screen or a 10-inch screen like this, it's pretty similar stuff. So again, I found an EV menu in here, and then I'm going to go into, if you see, charge management. It looks a little bit different, but again, it's giving me the same stuff over here. So again, you got a few little extra icons. Remember, you're going up into charging up here at the top, and then as long as you have the scheduled charging and next departure. This one is going to be about target temperature on EV. I'm going to do another video on that if that's okay. This is just about scheduling your charging. The reason I'm not going to do the video on just the heating part of the EV, I think that requires a video by itself. So this is just about charging and availing of certain rates. So anyway, if you have your charger plugged into your charger socket, normally on something like a Santa Fe plug-in, all I'll do here is plug that in. So take this out, you see the way it's ready with the little orange light down there. I plug it in and it starts charging. So that's obviously fine if you want to charge straight away. You jump into the car, but you might be somebody that has different rates of electricity at different times. So this one, as you can see, is charging immediately. And you can see along there then, it's charging along here. This actually I used to think was a magnet for closing the door, but you see actually there's something a little bit more prevalent on that. Right, I'm going to undo that for a sec. So we're going to stop the charging for a minute. We'll go back here. Right, scheduled charging. So start the car and let this menu start up here. Fine. Okay, so essentially what I want to do is, again, using this 10-inch screen, this time I've got PHEV. Remember the car over there, it showed us EV. This one's going to show us PHEV because it's the plug-in. I'm going to charge management. I'm going to shut the radio up. Right, so the first thing is next departure. So rather than hitting the cog, I'm touching where it says next departure, and that's incorrect, sorry, the other way around. Touching the cog, right. It won't let you do anything. So this car has never been set up before, so departure time has not been set. So if I said to myself, okay, do you know what? Today's Monday. It is currently 18:28. So I'm going to say to the car, I'm going to leave tonight at, I don't know, 12 o'clock tonight or something like that. So that means then that I've asked the car, I'm going to leave at 12 o'clock later on, but I want the car to charge before I go. Okay. So I'm going to hit the okay. I've hit Monday. You can have every day if you want on this. I'm just going to do it for today. So okay. And we're back into this menu here. Now this is where I got a little bit confused the first time I set it up. So in here, it doesn't seem to give me anything else that I can do. So I went back. Okay, then I went into, when we looked at this first, this was available, but scheduled charging was grayed out. So again, I'm going into this using the cog, and I'm now going to tell the car that I want off-peak tariffs only. So that means if you're somebody that kind of says, I get cheap electricity, I'm going to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning. I know I'm picking at 12 o'clock at night. But if you leave at 8 o'clock in the morning and you want the car to charge overnight when you're asleep, it's going to be the same thing. I'd happen to tell the car I'm leaving at 12 o'clock tonight, but I could have told it 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. But the crucial part about this is I wanted to use off-peak tariffs or prioritize off-peak tariffs, okay? So I'm going to tell it basically that the off-peak time, the best settings, for the sake of this video, I'm going to say the best settings are at 18:35. And, you know, obviously they're not. But this would be like, you know, if the off-peak time was like 2 o'clock in the morning, you'd be setting it for 2 o'clock in the morning. So up as far as 18:30, okay, let's say 18:40. Oh, come on, give me 35. Oh, I'm going to have to wait. No. Okay, I'm going to say 18:30. But here's the important part, and I didn't do this the first time. Make sure you give it an ending. So I'm going to tell it that off-peak charging is for like 3 hours, or I'm going to say 4 hours, from, you know, 18:40 up as far as 4 hours after that would be 22:40. So in through there, and then 40. I could have just tabbed backwards for the other one. 22:40. Okay, so that means, and now it allows me to press OK. So we're going to, okay, saved. When scheduled charging is active, the battery will be charged according to off-peak priority when the cable is plugged in. The main thing about the priority setting is that basically it'll work out how much charge is needed to go into the car to make sure you're fully charged before it leaves. So from the point of view of when you're in that priority setting, it'll try and give you the priority of the off-peak time. So if you've told it that's the time slot that off-peak is, it'll try and use that. But if it figures that, well, actually no, you won't be fully charged if I only stick to that, I need to start you charging earlier than that, then it'll do that. So it'll prioritize the off-peak, but if it needs to work around outside the off-peak, it will. Just one other thing on that setting, you can also set it to off-peak tariffs only. That's where it'll literally won't prioritize it, it'll only charge at that time. So for the sake of the demonstration here, I'm going to hit OK. So this, when scheduled charging is active, the battery will be charged according to off-peak time only when the cable is connected. Okay, so that means then it's now 18:38. According to this car, it thinks the lowest, because that's the information I put into it, it thinks that the off-peak charging starts in about 2 minutes time. So normally you'd have a little orange light flashing here, but in this case, you'll see it's now set up for charge management. Okay, so that means that the car should literally start charging any minute. So it's 18:38, basically when the car thinks it's going to 18:40, we'll walk back around and we'll see that the charging will now kick in. So essentially you've told the car, this is the cheap time, I'm leaving at that time, and you know, that's whatever, 6-7 hours time. It takes about 4 hours to charge the car. So I want you to charge at the most optimal time before I leave. Again, it'll take the information you put into it. So it doesn't predict, it doesn't do anything. It's whatever you tell it to do, that's what it's going to respect. Anyway, for the sake of demonstration, we'll just watch what happens here. Probably going to take maybe another 20 or 30 seconds. So as we roll over to about 18:40, which I pre-programmed into the car, you can see it started charging now. And I walk over here then, the car has started charging. Just come back into here, right? So that's fine, that's set up. Remember, I've asked it to do this on Monday only, so if you wanted more days, you're going to have to select more days, that's fine. Say, for example, you don't want to, you know, and by the way, you can have a couple of different patterns as well. So this is the first departure time, but I can set another one as well if it's within the same day or whatever, fine. What I would say to you is, if you wanted to quickly get out of that, as in, I just want to plug in my car, that means you would hit that there and it's gone. Even though sometimes this confuses people, you come back out of it, next departure is still actually sitting there at that time on that day. But the important thing is, see the way the little blue, off, on. Simple thing, but sometimes people find it confusing. And then you come back out of here again. So again, these are the settings buttons here. So anyway, hopefully now you've got a better idea. Check what way your off-peak charging is, and then plug in the vehicle electric or plug-in electric or whatever it is. And basically, so for example, I'm just using the example, if you want to leave the house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you've got off-peak hours around 2 o'clock in the morning till about 6 in the morning, key in the information the way we just did it there, and that will allow you to basically avail of lower tariff charging without having to go charge and plug in the car at 2 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully that video is useful. Thanks for watching.